We've been in a face-ripping rally for the last week and a half, I'd say, and we may be starting to see some cooling. Let's talk about what's going to happen in the market this week. Good evening, my fellow Riz Elite members. This is Chris with Riz International, and this is your weekly market recap. Of course, if you're watching this replay on YouTube, I'd like you to go ahead and click like and subscribe and join our community here of growing traders if you're not part of our Riz Elite membership. But if you are, don't forget, membership is opening up here just in a couple days, so you're going to want to make sure you click on that link down in the description and get on that wait list to get in Riz Elite so you can be part of this webinar live, as well as ask us questions and be access to all of Riz's trades and all of the alerts that he sends out. And I just got to tell you guys, I kind of remember last week I said something about maybe we come up to the 200 simple moving average and reject off of that. Well, it looks like the market made me look pretty smart when it did that, and really our downtrend here has been confirmed. This is a beautiful pushback up here to, this downtrend to resistance, which is going to be the 200 simple moving average, and a fantastic rejection here over the last couple of days, especially going into Friday with a huge sell-off on Friday in the market. Of course, Wednesday and Thursday were just kind of a little bit iffy. We weren't really sure what was going on. Everything was kind of trading sideways, but then Friday we got the move. We got a big push down. We didn't quite make it down to this 4,200 level here, but we look primed for that on Monday, to say the least, as this downtrend continues. Now, we've seen this before where we have these pushes up and, we kind of come down and we come up a little bit, but we don't come back up all the way, and then we go down and we come back up. And then we really go down, and then we come back up, and then we go down some more. So am I going to say that we're going to run back down here to 3,600 right away? No, it'll take a little while if that does happen. But we are in a definite downtrend here on the market. There is no denying it at this point. We are in a downtrend. There will be a lot of people who say, oh, it's not a real recession. Okay, sure. Yeah, I know. I've probably just been flagged by YouTube, but that's okay. Such is life. Come on. We've had two contractions in GDP over the last 2 quarters. That's a textbook recession at this point. And so just because we don't want to identify as a real recession doesn't mean that we aren't actually in one. And so this downtrend makes a lot of sense. And, it's kind of needed after everything that happened in 2020. Let's just kind of remind ourselves of everything that happened over here. This type of recovery here is just absolutely insane after we'll just call it the C19, right? Because again, I don't want to double flag myself. Over 100% over the course of basically 2 years since 2020. And, I think we're due for a little bit of a downtrend at this point. And so that is exactly what we're seeing here in the S&P 500 over the last, basically since the start of the year. And we have been having a hard time with it. Of course, there was the anti-inflation bill passed that even the party in charge admitted will not help inflation. So I think that we should expect to see some more downturn in the market. Like, again, it's not going to be immediate. We're not going to have people, jumping out of skyscrapers. But listen, guys, this, based on everything that's happening, all the economic indicators, things like that, looks like we could be in for some more downside. Now, that's not to say that, buying doesn't come in here and bust us back up to the, all-time high in another couple months, but I have a hard time believing it. I'm just going to put it out there. I think that if we push down here below 4,200 again in a very strong fashion, kind of like how we had on Friday, if that happens on Monday, then look out, because I think the bottom may fall off fairly quickly. So we'll just keep an eye on that as far as things are going. Let's see how that breakdown of the S&P 500 is. Utilities and energy continue to push up at this point. Healthcare is basically flat on the year, below the zero line, and everything else is curling over with the market. So we really see some resiliency here in utilities. Riz touched on that on our last webinar. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go back and rewatch that, where he talks about utilities and why it is pushing up here. Apologize for that stutter. And, you know, after this kind of rollover in energy that we had here in June, we seem to have found the bottom and we're starting to push back up. And we'll take a look at oil here in a minute. But S&P 500 itself is down almost 12% on the year. And tech and real estate are leading the way, well underperforming the S&P 500 at this time. Let's take a look here on oil. It looks as though our support level on oil has held here right around 85.50. Looks like we came down and touched that, yeah, pretty close. Looks like the lowest we got was here. Yeah, 85.73 is the lowest we got, but very nice little bounce there off support. And oil just kind of trending sideways. Now, obviously, we had some demand destruction. We talked about that here with the second push to 120 that failed pretty, you know, spectacularly, for lack of a better term. And oil has come back down well below, well, I won't say well below, but definitely below the $100 per barrel mark, which is nice to see. But I don't know in your area what gas prices are looking like. Here in Indiana, we actually saw gas prices go up a little bit. We're kind of sitting right around $4 a gallon here, and it's kind of sat that way all week. It's a little strange, honestly, when you see all of the gas stations advertising $3.99 per gallon, and it doesn't move. You know, for a couple days. I find that interesting. I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on or anything like that, but just an observation, just a data point for you. Let us know down in the comments what gas prices are looking like in your area. We'd love to hear that from you. Gold here has, again, respecting the support and resistance areas. We kind of talked about this bounce off of gold here on the, let's see, that would be the 21st of July, came down, hit our lower support level and bounced up over that, pushed over the 50, but has come down this week. Very red week for gold, to say the least. Everything pointing down on gold, and now we're kind of in this lower area, this lower channel that we've been seeing. We'll have to see if we can push down below 1680, but so far, with multiple attempts at 1680, gold has not been able to push through it. After this meteoric rise in gold that we had in 2020, this area, this 1680, has been very well respected as far as the price of gold is concerned. And so we'll keep an eye on that, as should you, coming here into this week. But yeah, gold taking a bit of a turn towards the downside, just like Bitcoin yesterday, getting absolutely hammered on Bitcoin. Let's see, how much did we lose? About $3,000 worth of value in Bitcoin. So nice push up here to 25,000. That has been a pretty solid support and resistance area for Bitcoin at this point. And even though we're kind of melting upwards, we're having a rough go at it here. We're really sitting on this low that we established back here on the 26th. And right around that 20,500, 600 area. We'll have to see if we can push up a little higher. I apologize. Yeah, this was the 19th. So yeah, it was yesterday. So I forget that they're on different time scale. So my apologies for that. So a new day in Bitcoin has started. But yeah, on the 19th, really hammered on Bitcoin, to say the least. Of course, all the other major coins were affected as well. But yeah, Bitcoin has really just been kind of hanging out in this 25 to 20,000 USD per coin area, getting a little bit oversold, but really not, really just staying between these RSI bands, and not too much interesting going on here. We'll have to see if it breaks either direction. Panos says it's €2 per liter there where he lives, so that's pricey for sure, to say the least. What is it? I think it's like, what is it, 2.2 liters per gallon, if memory serves? That sounds about right. But I may be thinking kilos and pounds. In any case, someone will correct me on that. I'm sure of it. I do want to talk about a couple of the shorts that we took this week that went absolutely spectacular, to say the least. AMC going to be the first one. Now, we talked about these meme stocks. If you guys haven't seen Riz's YouTube video about that, make sure you click on that. It should be in your sidebar. If not, you should be subscribed to the channel anyway, so make sure that you check our previous videos, and he talks about how he did these shorts, but absolutely beautifully, to say the least. In on the 15th on this short on AMC, got in at 23.80, and yeah, that was a nice little rollover there on AMC. Very well played there. Also, FUBO, F-U-B-O, FUBO, TV. Nice little rally here post earnings, a bit parabolic, shorted the parabolic on the 16th, And yeah, that went pretty well also. In short at 660 per share. And yeah, we've closed on Friday at 435. Spectacular. But of all of them, probably the best is Bed Bath & Beyond. So obviously Riz is not going to go buy his new sheets and his new bed set at Bed Bath & Beyond with all the money he made on this one. Look at this spike here on this meme stock. Ridiculously overpriced here, overbought on RSI. Got in short at 23 on the 16th. And yeah, that went pretty darn well. I know Riz averaged in several times on this short and did very, very well for himself in at 23. I don't recall what his average was when he finished, but I know it was pretty close to that, if not a little bit higher. And yeah, lost almost half of its value in 3 days. And so you'll see these sometimes, these ridiculous parabolic moves, and if you have the ability to short them, it usually can work out pretty well for you. Of course, that can backfire, so be careful with your shorts, of course, but this meme stock, yeah, we absolutely dominated this one. I know that a lot of our members dominated as well, so congratulations to all of our elite members who were able to capitalize on those shorts. You should be sitting pretty, to say the least. After those. So very well done. Very happy for everybody who made money on that. And yeah, this is kind of what we've been seeing, you know, these crazy, crazy moves. And if, like I said, if you can get in short and you have the conviction and the understanding of why it's actually happening, then yeah, you can make a lot of money shorting these ridiculous moves like this. But I want to go ahead and open it up to questions. If you guys have anything you want me to take a look at, I'm more than happy to do so. Of course, we're going to try and keep this, you know, this webinar short. Of course, I always respect your time. I want to make sure that your weekend time is respected and kind of get you the information that you want in a nice, tight, compact package. But yeah, Riz was telling me he wasn't feeling so hot. I know that he wanted to be here tonight, but he just needed to rest, so he wasn't feeling so great. Must have been that sick move on BBBY that you know, made him feel ill. All right, can you give me 2 cents on Spot and SQ? Absolutely. Spot, so Spotify, looking good here. So okay, Spotify obviously been beaten down pretty hardcore. We've lost over half of our value. Actually, even more than that. Let's take a look from the high here. How much we've lost. Right about there. That's close enough. And we're sitting right about, okay, so my mistake. My math wasn't so good. 71% loss on Spotify here. So massive rollover on this. And it's not very inspiring is really the best thing I can say. We're in an obvious downtrend here. We have been for quite some time. We're hoping to see some push over 201, but didn't get there, honestly. Even on that rebound, it really just kind of rolled over after that. We've been melting upwards, obviously, just a little bit. You know, so I mean, we're kind of, you know, just inching a little bit higher, but with the market behaving the way that it is, it's definitely not inspiring. Looks like we had a bit of a miss on earnings, actually a pretty big miss on earnings, 25% miss. Revenue was up slightly, so I mean that's good if you are somebody who can benefit from that revenue. But sadly, the stock price has not really been helped with that earnings report. Though, if it can stay above this line here, and especially above the 50 here, which is the teal line, the teal moving average, if we can stay on top of that and we continue to see this slow curl upwards, that could be good for it. But if the market sells off, this is probably going to tank with it. I have a hard time believing that this would be immune to market pressures, and so keep an eye on it. Again, if we kind of dip below this, you know, this ascending support area here, that could be very bad. And the fact that the 50 is sitting right on top of it is definitely good if you're long on this, but not a great mover here. We also have the 200 crashing down, which is not a good sign. So it's obviously hurting. Let's take a look at SQ. SQ taking a beating here with the market over the last couple days. Looks like earnings were pretty solid. Yeah, we had a nice beats on earnings there. So a nice little 2 cent per share beat, so that's definitely nice. It hasn't really been rewarded too much for that. Even on earnings day, was not too much going on, and a nice rejection of the 100 here. Again, this is another one that's going to be kind of tricky. Let's see if I can get that in there nicely. Yeah, right about there. That's about perfect. So again, kind of melting up just like Spotify, but SQ or Block, used to be Square, getting beat down with this huge tech sell-off that we saw. Let's see, can we back it up? Yeah, so this, sorry, auto adjust. This tech sell-off here at the end of the year, this huge push down in tech, we saw, of course, Square is suffering from that pretty bad, or I'm sorry, Block. And tech has been obviously beaten down this year pretty hardcore as well, down 50% or 15%, excuse me. So we need to see tech and growth stocks start to make a push, and we haven't seen that yet. Everything seems to be focused on the energy sector at this point, and it's very difficult with some of these tech stocks. Now, of course, you look at big boys like Apple and things like that, and they're having a pretty nice run up. I think AMD, yeah, post earnings, they're just kind of sitting there, a little bit similar to SQ, and then Nvidia looking almost exactly like AMD. But a lot of people just, and you see that rollover in tech right around here in the end of last year, and these stocks get punished for it. So SQ has been hit even harder in my opinion, and somewhat similar to Spotify. Honestly, the charts are almost exactly the same, except that SQ did not miss earnings, whereas Spotify did. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Panos is saying that one thing that kind of scares him is the market condition, and if the markets take a hit, then both of those can get wrecked. I agree with you 100%. If you have a long-term perspective, then I think that both of these are going to be really solid buys down here, but it's one of those things, how much capital do you want to tie up? And it is really hard to find setups these days, and that's why you'll notice that we haven't been taking a whole lot of long positions, because the market's just getting absolutely wrecked right now. And even though we have these little rallies like we had here when we came in June and we hit this area here in 36 and we pushed up higher, but again we see this rejection, this confirmation of our downtrend. It's really tough to find setups, especially in like growth stocks and things like that, like SQ, like Spotify, like all these little tech stocks that usually would be giving us pretty solid moves, things that were a little more predictable. Now, very, very volatile and hard to predict. And so yeah, I agree with your assessment on both of these, that if the market takes a dump, this is probably going to take a dump with it. Now, you may question, okay, how much more does it have to give? We gave up 70%. Well, it can give more. Don't kid yourself. It can definitely give more if it wants to. So just be kind of aware of that. And I think that, again, if you're looking long term on these, I would look at SQ more than I would look at Spotify. That's just my own personal opinion and my personal preferences towards different stocks. I guess I have a fondness for Square. I've always liked this. I like this company. They seem to do pretty well earnings wise, whereas Spotify, not necessarily doing all that great. Basically on earnings, we're reporting break even here. We're losing money. We made money that quarter. Congratulations. Losing a shit ton of money. And let's look here. Okay, just losing a moderate amount of money. And so it's one of those things. For me, if I'm looking at something long term, I want to see actual, positive or EPS, basically. Even whether they make or they miss earnings, we're actually making money. It's a company that actually works as a company. So to me, that is something that is a little more important, especially for a long-term investment. Short-term makes less of an issue, but yeah, for these, if you look in long-term, I would take Square. Would be my pick of the two. Just because of my fondness for the stock. But again, that's my personal choice, and I'm not trying to give you financial advice. Of course, we're just giving education here for our YouTube overlords who are screening me right now. But no, two great companies, but Square SQ is going to be my pick. Of course, they're renamed Block. Got to get that blockchain going on. But yeah, SQ is my pick out of the two. Again, they could take a massive dump if the market gets wrecked. And like I said, I agree. It is really hard Okay, so you're looking at Spotify due to FC Barcelona deal, but it never happened. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like you buy the rumor, sell the news, and sometimes you buy the rumor and there is no news, and that's kind of when you get shafted. I hate to put it that way, and that will happen from time and time again. But SQ's my pick out of the two. Great question, two excellent tickers, but yeah, if the market takes a dump, then both of these will probably go with it. And honestly, looking at this chart pattern, it looks like we've got more room for downside. Like I said, a strong push below 4,200 will signal bad news for the market. Riz talked about this on Friday, and beautiful rejection off the 200 here. I mean, it just came right to it and tapped it, and then down she came. So really, really strong indication that even though we've been having a pretty solid push here, that it may be over, and we may be starting to roll over. And like I said, there's always a lot of buying and selling going on that 200 simple moving average, so keep an eye on it. It definitely is a big technical indicator that you can use. So yeah, it's just a 200 simple moving average. Yeah, I have to agree with you, and that's something that we've been preaching a lot, and I thank you for bringing that up. He said he didn't buy any of them, but he's been watching, and it's a better idea to protect capital for now. I agree with you 100% on that. Thankfully, you have other options since you're part of Elite. You have different, vehicles that we use to help you succeed in any market, and that's something that's always, a benefit. That other than just buying and selling, there is, if you have access to it, there's shorting, but there's also, you can do that via options, things like that, if you don't have the ability to short at your brokerage, or maybe you don't have the capital to do it. Options are another way to do that. Make sure you take Riz's options class if you're going to start playing with options. There's a good way to lose a lot of money in options, and I've seen it. I've got a good buddy of mine who really enjoys playing options and really enjoys giving money to the market via options. So it can be a great vehicle for making money, but it can also, knife you in the back when you're not careful. So be very careful with it if you have to utilize that method. Just take Riz's masterclass on options. That will help a lot getting your feet on solid ground in the options market, for lack of a better term. So I want to thank, of course, all of our great Elite members who came out this evening for webinar. Really appreciate it. Thank you, of course, for all of you who are watching on YouTube. Again, make sure you click that like and subscribe button, and also click that link down in the description. Riz Elite waitlist is going to be opening up soon, very, very soon, so make sure that you do that. If memory serves, what is it? It's this week, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like it's the 23rd is what Riz said. Yes, so that is going to be the 23rd that we are reopening Elite membership. So guys, make sure you get in on that and get on the wait list, because this is a community that is making money while other people are losing it here, as the market is in a clear downtrend, and we are going to capitalize on this as best we can, and so are our members. So, of course, thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend. Take some time, get some rest, refresh, have a good time with your friends, and we will see you in the market on Monday.